On Green Dolphin Street is the standard of the month here on my YouTube channel and Patreon page. Now, it's a great one you guys voted for, but it's not without its challenges. I think there's three things most people have issue with when learning and playing this song. The first one, really crucial thing, is maintaining your timing when you switch between comping in a Latin style to the swing style when you switch between the A section and the B section and the A section and the C section. Getting comfortable with comping the quick inversions that you have to do in the C section. And then thirdly, soloing over the quick changes that just keep coming at us in the B section and especially the C section. Now, I've already made 2 videos about On Green Dolphin Street. I've done a lesson on the chords and a lesson where I break down the harmony, so I will link those in the description as well as a link to my Patreon page. So Green Dolphin Street is usually played with a Latin feel to both the A sections, and then you play the B and the C section with a swing feel. Now, this presents a dangerous problem, especially when you're playing with others, and it's quite often when people change between a Latin rhythm going to a swing rhythm, they will slow down and the tempo will drop, and obviously we don't want that to happen. So I share with you a few ways you can avoid this happening, and you can work on practicing this particular difficult point in the song. Now, this isn't unique to this song off the top of my head, just thinking of other songs which do this. Night in Tunisia by Dizzy Gillespie. You've got Caravan, often played like this, particularly I'm thinking of the Art Blakey version. And also one I absolutely adore, Chet Baker's Old Devil Moon. That's a killer tune that switches between a Montuno Latin feel to swing. Now, here's a snippet at the end of the A section on this month's chord melody for this tune. You can hear the point when it goes from a Latin feel to swing. At the end of the A section, you're playing a Latin rhythm. You might do it bossa or samba, whatever it is. You got C, then A7, and on the D minor 7, the swing's got to come in. Say if I was playing this tune, this speed. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we want to happen. We want that to be, we don't want to drag, like, and slow down. You know, we don't want it to be. I'm exaggerating. I often play this first section with the samba rhythm, like. That's how I like to do it. And obviously using a metronome is a good way to practice it, but what I would say first is, let's say you're using a bossa nova style to play the first section, sort of like, you've got to be super comfortable with that rhythm. And what I mean by that is you've got to be able to feel it, know where the beat is, and, you know, not lose time when you're playing that, obviously, first. And the same goes to the swing rhythm. You want to make sure that you know, a nice little accent on 2 and 4, but you can play that in time as well, because obviously if either of those rhythms are insecure, trying to tie the two together is going to be impossible. So first, get your ducks in order for both of those rhythms. And the key with playing both those rhythms well is still learning to feel the pulse, you know, beats 1, 2, 3 and 4, regardless of the fact you've got 2 different rhythms. You know, you've got the swing with the emphasis on the 2 and 4, and then you've got the more funky, more involved Latin styles. If you feel you can do both rhythms well and you need to work on changing between them, then here's a couple suggestions on how you could practice this. First thing is you could play along to recordings, because hopefully they're in time, and you can just learn to feel what it's like to lock in with them. That's one thing I suggest. The next thing is the metronome. Now, playing it with a metronome, definitely a good idea. And you've got, you know, the one I use, Tempo, which is a free app, not paid to say anything about it. It's one I've always used and like. The free version's fine. Making sure I've got beat 1 emphasized. You know, this is at 180 at the minute. Might need to do it slower. Putting it on. I like this one because you can see the beats visually. And then trying that problem point. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Part with the samba. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's quite helpful, and hopefully you'll recognise if you're not in time with that. If that's a bridge too far, then you could do a bars break between the C and the A7 and the D minor. Go like 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could try stopping on the A7 and go like this. 2, 3, 4. Then into your swing feel. That's how I would suggest using a metronome, but maybe not at 180. And you could practice it with any chords, to be honest. You could just practice it with the A7 to the D minor 7, whatever you like. But having that bars break might be helpful. So there's like a, you know, like. 2, 3, 4. You know, trying to do it like that. So with the metronome there, you either play as the song wants you to, C, A7, then straight into that swing, or you could do what I did, bar of C, bar of A, then take a whole bar's break just to reconfigure yourself to the swing, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, so that then you feel what it's like to go into that swing rhythm from the Latin feel. Now when you're listening to recordings, one other thing you might notice is some people don't just suddenly dive straight in off that A7 into D minor 7. There might be a bit of link into it, lead into it, a bit of preparation for the listener, maybe for the band members as well. And I often think good musicians around you will do this to ensure everyone's on the same page. So what you do is for the A7 bar, just before the D minor 7, is you set the 4 to the bar swing kind of feel. And I might do it, well actually in this month's comping study over on my Patreon page, I did this. Like 4 to the bar swing feel there with some inversions leading up to the D minor 7. And if you were playing this song with other people, what this would do is it would just ensure that that section then starts on a strong footing. I'll do it to a metronome so you can hear. If I play the A section and then I'll just do on the A7 bar, I'm going to play a walk up to the D minor 7. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. What I did there, I went 1, 2, 3, 4 in, like a nice bridging section that would hopefully take everyone with you. And I'll be honest, when I'm at gigs and I have songs which do this, change between different feels, you know, I have to make sure I'm really concentrating at those points to ensure that I really feel the time and don't drag at all, because you know, that's the last thing you want to be doing when playing with other people. Second thing that often causes a lot of difficulty for people playing the chords to this one is inversions with the minor 7th in the bass. So D minor 7/C and A minor 7/G. And so I just want to show you a few different ways you can do this so you can find a satisfactory way for you to do it. So first off, the way I would do it would be D minor 7, and then you just bring the little finger in. Some people find that a bit clunky, that might be. And it's easy to be heavy-handed when trying to use the little finger to overcompensate. So if you don't feel like that's very comfortable, another way you could go is keep the D minor 7 there, and then go to D minor 7/C here. You might recognise this as F6/C, it's the same notes. So that'd be, that could work, and then you got B minor 7/5 underneath it. Another way you could approach doing it is like with this triad, D minor, go into D with the C in the bass. That's another way you could do it. Very basic hack would be to go, a bit of a cop out, but you could just play the note C twice. I'm sure you could get away with that at speed if you had to. And there's also this way, D minor 7 like this, quite a familiar jazz guitar shape, and then just lower the bass note like that. Another way you could do it. All those equivalents would work for A minor, so you could have A minor 7 to that. I would not encourage that, that's just so difficult high up the guitar. So maybe you could go like that, A minor 7 to A minor 7 with G in the bass, or this. As I had on the chart, like that. There's a few options there just to find what works for you, what you find easiest. Sometimes it's not always easy to find quick solutions in those problems. Obviously you could just ignore that and not have the descending bass, just play a bar of D minor, bar of A minor. Not a big deal, especially, you know, if the bass player's going to take care of it, but I think it's a nice thing to pull out from the song because of that nice bass going. Pretty cool the way that descends. Third and final thing I'd like to look at today is soloing over the B and C section. The A sections feel quite spacious to me on this song. There's a bit of mystique about them, a bit of intrigue. You can kind of have a bit of fun with that. But the B section and the C section, they're a bit unforgiving because they move around a lot. And you can make this overcomplicated if you're not careful. So if you look at the B section, you can look at it and go, well, okay, D minor 7, G7, C. F minor 7, B flat 7, E flat major 7, then some sort of G7 to take us back for the next A. You can look at that as, you know, 7 chords in a row, a few different things going on there. 2 2-5-1s. There's a 2-5-1 in C, then there's a 2-5-1 in E flat major, followed by a G chord, dominant bass chord to get us back to C for the next A. And so you can look at it and think D minor, G7 to C, F minor, B flat 7, E flat, G7, back to C. That would be one way you could look at it. Or just to keep things simpler, you can just think of that B section as just being C major for 4 bars and then E flat major for 3 bars, just wanting to hit towards a G7. So let me demonstrate that for you crudely over I real. Coming up to the B section now. Okay, so C major. Now E flat major. G major. Did just do an arpeggio down pretty much there, but so you see there, I'm not overcomplicating things with. I'm not saying you should never kind of follow the chord changes and outline D, G, C. Of course, that's important, but I think you internalize those things by practicing that. But when it comes to actually soloing over chord changes and trying to improvise, you know, just appreciating, well, they're all from the same key center, so you know you can't go obviously too wrong with the C major scale. And when F, B flat, E flat comes up, you've got the E flat major scale there. So that's one way to simplify the B section, and we'd call that key center playing. Moving on to the C section, one way you can simplify this is just think, well, it's D minor. Don't worry about the fact it goes to the D minor with the C in the bass. And then I'm going to prioritize the second chord of each chord here. So instead of thinking, you know, thinking of the changes for soloing, D minor, B minor 7 flat 5, E7, I'm just going to think D minor, E7, A minor, B7, and then I could think E minor, D minor, C major at the end, or I could, that last bit I could think A7, G7 to C. But either way, I'm not worrying about one of the chords in the bar. Why? Because all of those are 2-5s in one way or another, either a minor 2-5 or a major 2-5. And whenever you've got those, you can just ignore one and play to the 2 or play to the 5. Here is that to I real. Quite simple playing, I know, but just there I'm worrying a hell of a lot less about all the stuff that's going on around me in terms of the chords. It's maybe easier to hear a line, so it looks sort of D minor to E7 A minor to B7. Then I did A7 G7 back to C. You know, I'm trying to sing my lines as I play them, you know, that's what I'd always try and do to try and play melodically. I always have to remind myself to do it sometimes, but it certainly helps. Now throughout the video I've obviously referenced Patreon a lot, and just to summarise what's over there for those of you that might be interested, this month there is a chord melody for this tune, there is a comping study, there is a solo, a beginner solo and an intermediate solo, plus also a fretboard knowledge lesson and a music theory lesson. So that's what goes on each month. Oh, there's a backing track as well. So plenty there to dig into. Links in the description, and I'll put up on the screen my 2 videos I've already made about this tune, about the chords and about the harmony also. If you've not already watched those, then that's where I'd start, you know, learn the tune, learn the chords, and there's so many great versions out there to listen to. I think Barney Kessel's is my favourite, but let me know yours in the comments. But until next time, you take care.